Life by You is not coming anymore, it's gone. Sorry, that was a bit clickbaity. It's not gone forever. The early access for Life by You was due to be released on the 12th of September 2023. This is something that I did criticize in a video a couple of months ago. If you didn't see it, basically, I was just a little bit concerned that we hadn't really got like that much gameplay. They showed us different snippets of things that you could do in the game, but they didn't really show us a really hefty amount of gameplay that adds up to, you know, it actually being a fun experience that you could play for a 8-hour binge. 8 hours is a bit dramatic, but you know, like when you play a new game and you play it for like a good 5 hours on a binge, they didn't show us that much gameplay, and it just concerned me a little bit. Like, what can we actually do in this game? We really don't know that much about it, and it's not polished. As you guys know, if you see my previous videos, I have said it looks like the whole screen has been lathered in Vaseline. I do think the graphics needs a little bit of work. Anyway, they've suggested now that the brand new early access release will be in March 2024 at the start of March. Do I think this is a good thing? Absolutely. I think it is so bad when video game developers release games too early and they release them in a rush because they need to make quick money now. And I think it is such a rarity for a video game developer to postpone the release of a video game these days. But I honestly think it's so important. Every single, this is going a bit deep, but every single like really good game that I've played in my life has always been postponed, all of them, and it always gets postponed for the better because it means that they can do more to it. Do you know Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was postponed for an entire year, and look how bloody great that game is. On the other hand, when you look at things which are not postponed, for example, obviously the biggest one is Cyberpunk. I'm sure many of you have heard of that disaster. Even in The Sims 4, okay, there's been leaked coding suggesting that unicorns were actually meant to be a full-on part of The Sims 4 horse ranch. There are leaks suggesting that they had special magical powers in their coding, yet they weren't integrated into the game. Why? Allegedly, in my opinion, this is likely because they rushed the release. If they gave themselves 1 or 2 more months, the pack could have been released with unicorns, but instead they released it very early, so they didn't give themselves enough time. Releasing things too early is such a big problem in the video gaming world, and I think predominantly the issue is not having patience. You know, this is purely speculation, okay, but you know, maybe shareholders are getting impatient. Where's the return on my investment? I want to see something happening. So they rush the release in order to appease their shareholders. Or maybe they just need to up the amount of profits that they're going to make for that particular quarter because the big bosses are too impatient to see the money come in, you know, in a few months extra time. I think there's a lot of impatience in business and everybody gets so uptight and obsessed with numbers right now that they fail to see the long-term picture. So actually seeing a developer postpone their game and be honest and be like it's not ready, so we're postponing it, I genuinely do really appreciate that. So I am happy it's being postponed because that means obviously when it does eventually come out that it will be even better. Rod Humble, the guy making Life by You, released a video very recently that I reacted to. If you watched it, it was just going over a full day in the life in the game. The footage was great and it did show off a lot of stuff, and as I've said many times before, Life by You looks like the true sequel to The Sims 3 that I've always wanted, and I'm so excited about everything that we've seen so far. But I have also shared my concerns too. As I said, I think the graphics needs a little bit of redoing. I think it is very harsh and intense. I think some of the animations are a little bit clunky. Some things look a little bit weird. And one of my biggest criticisms was that, you know, we were only 2 months away from the early access release, and I just didn't feel like we were given enough to be able to make an informed decision about whether or not we should pre-order it. Hopefully over the time that it's being pushed back, we're going to get a lot more information about their progress with it and what they're doing. I know they're very hot on like community feedback, which is really good. A bit of a tangent, but there's a police van outside and like all the policemen just like looked up at me. Nothing related to me, no worries there, but I think they just saw my lights and my microphone and shit, and they're like, you know, being nosy. Just like I'm being a bit nosy. Anyway, lost what I was saying. So sorry, got caught up in all the drama. But back to the Life by You drama. It's not really drama. I've seen a lot of comments from you guys saying that like the game looks literally amazing, but you just feel like it's very unpolished. I think when it comes to early access, it's such a new thing in the video gaming world to do early access, and I am very skeptical of it, but this is my personal opinion, which I think is a good opinion in my opinion, which is that early access should be for games that look polished. They just lack the full amount of gameplay content. For example, when I did my early access review of Coral Island, the actual game looks impeccable. There is so much to do in the game. It doesn't feel like a full game, and there are plenty of bugs and glitches in it, but it is very much playable. The bugs and glitches don't take away from it. It's still very much playable. It looks really, really good, and it's something that you can enjoy. And I think that's the most important thing when it comes to early access release. It's actually got to be enjoyable for the player. You can't just be using players to test your game and get feedback for money. You know, in the past, video game developers literally used to pay people to beta test their game, and now it's Switch players are paying the video game companies to play test their game. It's crazy. That's why I think it's so important that the game is actually fully playable and actually fun. Importantly, very, very fun for early access. And I think with the stuff that we've been shown for Life by You right now, it looks okay, but it doesn't look like fun, playable, like replayable that you can go back to, you know, every other day when you want to. Do you know what I mean? That's why I think it's a really great idea that they've postponed it. I did say before that there's nothing wrong in them postponing it, and that I think it would be a good idea. Oh my god, all those people are staring at me again. I've got performance anxiety. In general though, I'm finding it so interesting to see the development of Life by You, because it's very rare that you get like such a behind the scenes thing in terms of how a video game is developing. Actually, something that I really want to show you is one of their latest videos, how to edit traits and skills. They've shown us a menu here, which obviously has the stand-up menu things, but it says create, and it goes into a very confusing mode here that I know not everybody will want to use, but it basically shows off how you can mod the game yourself and how you can like really easily change things. I mean, in my eyes, when I personally think of modding, I think of like going like deep diving into code, like ones and zeros, and like it's really confusing. This actually made modding look really easy, like anybody could do it. Like it didn't look like modding, it just looks like creation. They basically showed off like how you can create your own skills in the game, and they also showed off how you can create your own traits in the game. Like you can create a trait based on a name, you can give a description for the trait, you can select objects that are like to do with the trait when you interact with them and what the consequences are. Like it looks really in-depth, everything that they've shown. And even though it all looks a little bit confusing and all over the place, especially for a casual player, like it just shows how easily you can actually change and enhance the game. So what I'm trying to get at is I'm genuinely still really excited about this game, and the fact that they're postponing it in a weird way makes me more excited, because it makes me feel like actually they're not going to rush it and they're going to spend their time in it. Because let's face it, how many video game developers these days are just rushing games to release? The games come out in terrible quality and it's just really cash grabby and lazy. I refuse to purchase any of these games. You know, I've always been the biggest Pokemon fan. As soon as they released Scarlet and Violet, I took one look at it and I thought, nope, I'm the biggest Pokemon fan in the world. I'm not even buying this game because it looks awful. And all the developers are doing it because they know they can get away with it. And I'm sure if Life by You did it, like they could have got away with it, but they didn't do it instead. So that's very commendable. It shouldn't be commendable. It should just be a standard practice. But in the modern video gaming world, it is commendable. This is the kind of video where you probably expect me of all people to be a bit negative and bitchy, but I'm genuinely really happy. Good things come to those who wait. If you enjoyed this video, you might also enjoy the next video here. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one.